Om Shanti. Good morning to all of you in India, and good morning or good afternoon or whatever, wherever it is, for those who are joining on YouTube. So I was told that we should revise the 8 powers, and it was, yes, good morning, yes. And it was a lovely song that was played, lovely visuals, lovely animation. And truly, that's what Baba wants us to become, someone who has mastered the 8 powers. We have already understood that when we have these 8 powers, we will be successful. You see, in general, in the world out there, these words powers and success are commonly misunderstood. There are a bunch of negative connotations of these words. So here, first of all, we're not talking about the traditional success, of houses and cars and whatnot people are looking for. But in a way, all those things also come. But it is more of that inner success, that is an inner state of fulfillment, of a life lived well, of that profound experience of joy and bliss in our lives. When we live our lives according to the laws of the universe, that is, first of all, the law of karma itself, that when we do good, we get good. So a bunch of happiness flows into our lives. We become more purposeful in our actions, and we, in general, begin to experience the true meaning of our lives. The interesting thing is that as we remember Baba more and more, which you all do on a regular basis, it's very obvious. Each one of you is a star of success. I can see that. So as we remember Baba more and more, automatically we become powerful. This is a natural progression or a natural effect, if you will, of connecting with the highest energy, that we get recharged by his energy. His energy begins to flow into us. So his energy is ever pure, ever peaceful, ever powerful. So we automatically become powerful. In other words, all these 8 powers begin to set themselves into our consciousness, that they automatically start to seep into ourselves. Just like if you would soak almonds in water overnight, you never have to actually inject water into the almonds. The next day morning, you find that the almonds have swollen up. The water has gotten absorbed inside the almonds, and the almonds have become more swollen. So similarly, just soaking ourselves in Baba's presence, in Baba's energy, automatically makes us powerful. But it is good idea to truly understand these 8 powers and then to practice them on a regular basis, consciously. So you understand, unconsciously, without us having to actually practice these powers will automatically, spontaneously come to us if we stay in Baba's remembrance. However, Baba wants a two-pronged approach. Baba wants us to move forward very quickly. Baba wants us to reach our destination soon. And so if we just try the first strategy, that we soak ourselves in Baba's love, Baba's energy, then these powers will come to us. They will, but it'll take a long time. So Baba wants us to also, therefore, use the second strategy, the second prong of that two-pronged approach, to practice these on a regular basis. So what are these powers? What is the importance of each of these powers? Let's understand now. So first, let me enumerate these powers. And these powers, in a way, work in pairs. And also, it's easier to remember because you see, unless we remember, it will be very difficult for us to practice them. First is knowing what they are, second is remembering, and the third is then practice. So, just so that it is easier for us to remember, let's learn these or understand these in pairs. The first pair of these 8 master powers is the power to withdraw and power to pack up. The second two are power to discern and power to judge wisely. The third pair is the power to face and the power to tolerate. And the last pair is the power to cooperate and the power to accommodate. All right. So power to withdraw, power to pack up, power to face, power to tolerate, power to judge, power to discern, and the power to accommodate and power to cooperate. It doesn't have to be in any particular order, but to some extent, it's good to go according to how Baba has told us. So the first two, or the first pair, is power to withdraw and then power to pack up. So let's understand this pair. Let's understand the first power of this pair, that is power to withdraw. So here, what example do we use? A tortoise. A very simple example, how a tortoise, when it has to do something, it has to eat, it has to go someplace, it takes its limbs out, it takes its head out, sees what needs to be seen, does what needs to be done. But as soon as it has done what it needs to do, it has gone where it needs to go, it goes back into its shell. It is very smart because it knows that inside its shell, it is super protected. They say some of these big turtles that live for more than 100, 150 years, some of them live for quite a long. They are so powerful in a way when they go inside the shell. The shell is so strong that they say that even elephants can't break that shell. So for us, what does this mean? That when we have to do what we have to do, we have to go to work, we have to take care of our responsibilities, our jobs, our physical needs, needs of people around us. We do what needs to be done. So we use this body. Again, we shouldn't actually become body conscious, but we use this body. But every now and then, as we finish our task at hand, we always have some buffer time. During the buffer time, at least, we can go back into our soul conscious state. I am a soul. So in this state, just like this tortoise, the turtle that we took the example of, we become untouchable, invincible. We become unbreakable, unshakable, unsinkable, invincible. We become so powerful that nothing negative of this world can touch us. You see, the interesting thing is that soul consciousness is a different dimension. The physical world is a different dimension. So if you go into soul consciousness, you enter into a totally different dimension where nothing physical can ever enter. So staying in that state is a very important thing. Now we can understand this power to withdraw a little more from the aspect of how we are so engaged with the world in general. You see, we have so many different connections. Sometimes we have 2, 3 jobs. We're running from one thing to the other, from one vacation to other, many times, from one chore, one task to the other. We have friends, we have families, we have too many engagements. The more the engagements, more the energy gets lost. So if we want to conserve our energy, we have to check. We have to triage our energy. This is a word which we use in medicine. When, let's say, there's an emergency department. I know in India, it's a little different. In US, we have emergency departments. So many times we have limited resources, limited doctors, limited nurses. So let's say somebody comes with a small injury to the finger, and at the same time, or maybe even later, the person comes with a heart attack. So the emergency department will take care of the person who has heart attack before the person who has that little injury to the finger. So little that person with an injury to the finger may have to sit for hours before he's seen, whereas the person who has heart attack will be looked after or taken care of right away. So in other words, what it means is that there is a triage of the resources that the emergency department has. And what does that mean? It is allocation of our resources in the right way so that we can get the best outcome of whatever we are doing. So similarly, when you look at the world, there are so many things that we have to take care of. But many times there are more connections, more engagements than are necessary for us. So many times we end up creating our own entanglements. Do we really need these many friends? Do we really need these many connections? Do we really need to do all those things that we are doing? So much of it is just ego gratification, pretty much. It's a lot of peer pressure. If so many of our friends have thousands of friends on Facebook or other social media, then we feel as if we are less. We don't have enough worth if we have less friends. So less friends, less connections means less self-worth for many people. So that's why they keep engaging themselves in more and more. So all of these things then drain our energy. So minimalism is the name of the game. How minimalistic we can be in everything that we do, everything that we possess, every connection we have, everything we do. So, do I really need that many clothes? Do I really need that many shoes? Do I really need so many friends, so many connections? Do I really need to lose my energy to things which are not meaningful? All right, so power to withdraw. So, let me withdraw myself from unnecessary things that I have gotten myself stuck in, that I have now gotten into all these new, unnecessary, superfluous engagements. How can I withdraw myself? The more I withdraw myself, the more minimalistic I become, the more I can be in that soul conscious state where I'll be totally, completely protected. So far, so good. So now we'll go into the next power, the second of the pair, and that is the power to pack up. And here we take the example of a traveler. Even those Buddhist people talk about the Tao of the traveler. The soul is the traveler. It travels from one lifetime to the next, to the next, to the next. What does it travel with? If the soul has to go far, it needs to be light. You see, when we look at people who travel, some of the people who travel on a frequent basis, regular basis for work or whatever, they become experts in taking only what is necessary. And even you, if you have gone for a vacation or a trip, office trip, you don't take your entire house with you. It'll be super cumbersome. It will be counterproductive. You won't be able to do what you need to do if you are going for an office kind of a trip, a work-related trip. Then how will you focus on your work? And then your boss won't be happy, won't get you a promotion or whatever else that you are hoping to get. All the good things you'll miss out on if you take way too much, way more than that is needed. So you travel light. You travel with what is necessary. And of course, you have to be careful. Let's say you need toothpaste and toothbrush, and if you don't take what is necessary, then you will struggle when you go there. You'll have to go and try to buy that. You might end up wasting a lot more money and a lot more time. So when we take too much, then sometimes we end up not taking what we really need. So power to pack up tells us that we need to learn the art of packing up, of taking with us what we truly need versus what we do not. And so when the soul goes from one lifetime to the next, the important thing is that the soul cannot take anything with it that soul has gotten attached to, or maybe not even attached to, has used in a physical way. All the possessions, the name, the fame, all of those things that you can think of, those are temporary identities anyways for the soul, and the soul cannot take those with it when it goes to the next lifetime. So what it truly takes with it is the actions. Actions that are sort of organized into or packaged into what we call as sanskaras. So good sanskaras or bad sanskaras. Bad sanskaras make the soul heavy. Good sanskaras make the soul light. So if we have done good actions throughout our lives, if we have not created negativity in our lives and lives of others around us, if we do not hold grudges, grudges can be big burdens, right? All the stresses of why this person did this, why did person not do this, why is this happening to me, why this is not happening to me. All of these burdens, if we keep on carrying on our heads, then the soul becomes heavy. And the soul can't travel far and cannot travel fast either. You see, we have a big destination to reach to. The destination is too high. We have to reach there. The distance is quite a bit. Time is short. So we have to speed it up. And let's say you have to go somewhere and you have a bunch of suitcases on your head, on your side, like one of those coolies back in India. And you see them sometimes, they have 3, 4 suitcases on their head. Nowadays, I think they all carry those carts. So thankfully, they don't have to carry so much of weight on their heads and on their shoulders. But in those days, they used to. And then they couldn't walk too fast. If we have too much of burden on our heads, we cannot walk too fast. So somewhere we have to sit with ourselves, reorganize ourselves, regroup ourselves, say what we don't want. All right, these are the qualities, these are the actions, these are the sanskaras which I don't like, don't want. They're just creating nothing but burden and occupying space. Let me burn these in the fire of Baba's remembrance. And you can do that right now. Actually, for a couple of minutes, we can practice withdrawing from the world, and then packing up only what is necessary. So see yourself withdrawing from the world, and not withdrawing in a wrong way, withdrawing from the negativities. When a child has to study for exams, what do parents teach? Hey, enough of playing, enough of that playground, enough of socializing and friends and movies and whatnot. They say you're grounded. You're grounded in your room. You're locked up in the room. You're in isolation. This exam is important. And then some students, some children, they're very responsible. They don't need to be told or admonished by the parents. They automatically feel the need, the responsibility is obvious to them that they need to study well to be able to get good scores in exams, good grades, and then be able to go and get better college education and get better jobs. So think of it as the study of the soul. This is the time when the soul needs to develop itself. The spiritual education process for the soul has started. So now the soul needs a little bit of solitude, not loneliness. Yeah. Alone can be loneliness or can be solitude. The pain of being alone is loneliness. The joy of being alone is solitude. And in any case, think about it. As a soul, we are full, complete, whole. We don't need anything outside of us to make us full, complete, and whole. All of these unnecessary engagements are simply a a false sense of validation for the soul. But if the soul is full, complete, whole, it will not need any validation from outside. So it will be all right. So see yourself like that, in that pure soul conscious state. You've gone back into the cocoon, into the shell of soul consciousness. You've withdrawn yourself from unnecessary engagements. And in the soul conscious state, you are connected to Baba totally. And all of Baba's energy now beginning to flow into you. You're protected from the world and you're totally one with Baba. And then see yourself packing up. You got to travel. The travel is inevitable. The traveler has to travel. The travel for the traveler never ends. Even when we reach our destination, then we start all over again, anyways. So, to be able to reach our destination, we have to travel light. So, see yourself getting rid of all the rubbish, all the unnecessary things of the world. They're truly superfluous. I'll share with you, well, there was a student who is to come, was actually a Japanese American person, very lovely soul. So she was saying that when her parents died in quick succession, actually, over a period of few months. First, I think, I can't remember, the father, I think, died, and then the mother, or mother died, and then the. And she was sharing how her parents, maybe because they had come to US as immigrants and there was maybe some sort of insecurity, they were true hoarders. They started hoarding so many things. And she said, truly, this were her words, that it took her almost 2 years. And she wasn't in good health either, and she had to work as well. So, you have your own personal things to take care of. But it took her more than 2 years to clear up all the things that her parents had accumulated. See, one day we have to leave this world anyways. So all these physical possessions that we have, somebody else will have to get rid of them. It'll be a headache for them. So do we really need all those things? How much do we need? How many clothes will we wear? How many sweaters will we need? There is this whole wave of minimalism that has come up. In Japan, I think there's this video of this one man who says his entire list of possessions is less than 100. Just 100, that's it. Not more than 100. Think about it. So one spoon, one fork, one knife, one mug, coffee mug, one bowl, one plate, one table, one chair, one bed, one pillow, one pair of shoes. That's it. One shirt, or maybe two shirts, two pants, two trousers. That's it. So simple life. So can we go back to that state? And if people in the world can do that without them having the true spiritual education that we are receiving from Baba every day, then why not us? We Baba's children can also go into that higher level of consciousness and get rid of the unnecessary things that we've accumulated. So far, so good. So now I know time is running short. We have to revise and understand the rest of the powers. So the rest of the powers, next one, the next pair is power to discriminate and power to judge. So for the power to discriminate, we use the example of a jeweler. The jeweler has the ability to understand which is a real diamond versus a stone. So to be able to understand what is the need of the moment. You see, when we look at people or when we look at situations, sometimes we get thrown off by what is appearing to us at the external level. But there's more to the story than that meets our eyes and we listen to through our ears. So to be able to see the unseen, to be able to hear the unheard, to be able to know the unknown, and that is the power to discriminate, to understand truly what is right and wrong, and then to make the right judgment. What needs to be done in this moment by me? So judgment would become, then it's more of an action oriented power. Sometimes we do understand it, but then to be able to translate it into action in this moment, what needs to be done? Power to judge. And so here we use the example of the scale, the weighing scale. The Indian judicial system has this picture, right? In many of the Bollywood movies, we would see that there is this picture of a lady who has her eyes, she's blindfolded, she has a black cloth on her eyes, and she's holding the scales. And what is that? What is right? What's wrong? We have to understand these things very deeply. What is truly the right versus what appears to be right, to take the moment, and that is being provided to us, the time that is provided to us, in a way. Many times we feel we don't have adequate time to judge and to discriminate. But you see, even from quantum physics point of view, even from Einstein's theory of relativity point of view, we know that we can expand time. Time can be dilated. So in this moment, let's say this is the moment when I have to discriminate, when you have to discriminate, when you have to judge, you can expand time. And in that expanded time, you can take your time to really understand what is going on and to truly understand what you need to do to fix it. You see, there could be sometimes somebody coming to us with a very nice proposal, maybe a business proposal. And on the face, it might sound like a great plan, but it could be a recipe for disaster. On the other hand, it is possible that the other person truly needs something. Maybe he is not saying it, but to be able to feel the other person's pulse, to be able to understand the other person's needs. In fact, to be able to understand the needs of every moment, every situation is the true art that we need to learn, to develop. And like I was saying earlier, it automatically seeps into us as we stay in Baba's remembrance more. All right. So these two powers have also been covered, but we could take a quick moment to see ourselves exercising these powers. There's this saying, right, in Hindi, "Doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani." So see this happening right in front of you. See yourself slowing down in your mind as you go into soul conscious state. Everything is getting into a slower mode. You're slowing down. Time is beginning to dilate for you. And now you have enough opportunity, enough time to truly see what is going on. And in a way, the curtain goes away. And now you can see clearly. Just like those doctors through x-rays, through CT scans, through MRIs, can see inside your body, inside your brain. Although there's a big skull, there is this thick skin and muscles and whatnot that would prevent people from seeing inside. But they are able to understand what are the different illnesses, diseases, processes that are going on inside your body. So just like the doctors, you too could become one with that super X-ray vision of every situation. What is the underlying current? What is truly going on? And what do I need to do? See, success will come your way. It leaps and bounds. It will come to touch your feet if you learn how to discriminate and judge wisely. Now that we have understood these four powers and we have experienced these as well, let's go on to the next two. Power to tolerate and power to face. Here we use the example for power to tolerate. We use the example of a boy pelting stones at a tree. Now see, What is that tree? And that too, a mango tree. I think the example that we use and the picture that we use in Rajyoga meditation is of a mango tree. But if you like apples, you can see it as an apple tree, orange tree, or pears or peaches tree. Okay. So what would that tree give in return to the stones that the boy throws at the tree? Will it throw stones back at the poor child? No, it will give fruits, whatever fruits it holds, will give those to the child. But what happens to all of us? Someone throws stones at us, will we give them fruits? Will we go back inside and open the fridge and, all right, I have these nice mangoes, these nice apples. I'll go out and give it to the person who threw stones at me. No. We end up getting upset, sometimes even throwing stones back at the person, maybe even throwing bigger stones, getting super upset. And then this state of upsetness then throws us off, for days, for weeks, sometimes for months, sometimes for years. Sometimes in the rage of the moment, yeah, we can even do something which can cause us to repent for the rest of our lives. So what's the point? So to be able to tolerate, and it's not a negative energy actually. Toleration is not like, um, you know, um, I think one time I heard a small video of Sister Manda who lives in Oxford in England. She said very nicely that, sometimes our toleration or tolerance is like a pressure cooker. So we keep on tolerating, the pressure in the pressure cooker keeps on increasing inside us, the pressure cooker of our inner mind, and then one day it explodes. I have had enough. I've tolerated enough. That's what we end up saying. I can't tolerate anymore. But it's not that type of tolerance. It is really understanding where the other person is coming from and what your role is in this grand scheme of events that are unfolding in front of us. You see, in a way, everybody is playing their roles. Everybody is doing what they are meant to do. In a way, Baba has told us many, many times that it's a predetermined drama. Everybody's roles are fixed, and everybody's role has a meaning. If someone is doing something to us, in a way, that is the role that the person is playing. But also, if we understand the law of karma, it's very important to understand that somewhere we have attracted that negative situation to us, to ourselves. So instead of trying to blame others, trying to retaliate, if we have the clear understanding of the law of karma, then we will try to fix ourselves rather than trying to fix other people around us. And also understand this from the point of view of love. You see, love and acceptance. Just like a mom accepts the child, loves the child. And so even if the child does a lot of mischief, the mom doesn't get upset about it. Or maybe a grandfather has a grandchild sitting on his lap, and the grandchild is trying to play with the grandpa's glasses or pull his mustache or beard or whatever, and the grandpa will still be okay. He knows that the child is innocent. He knows that the child doesn't know better. Similarly, if we understand that people around us are behaving badly, wrongly, it's because they also don't know better. If they knew better, they would have done better. Who inherently, is bad? We know that no one is. And who would want to be bad? Nobody intentionally wants to be bad. They are just playing out their sanskaras. They have no control over their sanskaras. They have no control over their bad habits, really. And that's why they are habituated in creating sorrow for themselves. So when they are loaded with sorrow, they have to unload it somewhere. So they load it on others. So they unload it on others. They load it upon others. They give it off to others, and they can't they can't prevent that. They can't hold themselves back. It's like somebody has wants to vomit. Pardon me, I'm using this example because as physicians, these examples come in our minds. So if somebody wants to vomit, has this severe urge to vomit, he can't stop it. He has to vomit. And so similarly for these people who are doing negative things to others, they can't hold themselves back. They can't stop themselves from doing negative things. So we need to have compassion and love and respect and understanding for their problems that they themselves are not able to control. So they are probably more distressed than we can ever imagine. In fact, there is more distress in the minds of, or the hearts, in fact, of the perpetrator of crime than actually the victim of crime. You see, this is an important aspect actually. Perpetrators of crime are in more distress, really, than the victims of crime. So if you have become a victim of crime, not necessarily big things, but even small things, somebody just unloaded, your boss just unloaded his anger onto you, or your spouse just unloaded his or her irritation on you, it's because he or she is going through distress. So understanding that and then giving them love is what will make all the difference. You see, if there's fire somewhere, you don't bring more fire to kill that fire. If there's bad smell, a dead rat, and that's what's creating a bad smell in your house, you don't bring another dead rat to remove or to counteract the bad smell of that dead rat. Of course, you remove that dead rat, and then you bring some incense sticks, you'll burn those, or you bring some sort of air freshener to get rid of that bad smell. So similarly, negative energy, how do you counteract that? You don't counteract that with more negative energy. The only way to fix negative energy is to give positive energy. Positive energy is the best antidote to negative energy. So this is the power to tolerate. And what is power to face? It may seem like a contradictory power, right? Tolerate, face. And people in the world think that, oh, I have to attack, I have to fight, I have to set boundaries, and I have to speak up. But that's not really the meaning of power to face. Power to face would mean that when there are challenges that come our way, and the example that we gave of, let's say, a life-changing situation has come, sometimes losing a job, enormous amount of losses in business, maybe losing a limb, maybe having some new diagnosis of illness. The phone call comes from the doctor, hey, the blood tests are back, the x-ray is back, the CT scan is back, and you have this disease. Or maybe there could be a relationship issue that suddenly comes up, or some sort of betrayal, or even death of a family member can happen. Big challenges are bound to come. When Buddha was out on a tour of his kingdom at that early age, that was the turning point for him, right? You all know his name was Gautam, right? Or Siddharth. I think his name was Siddharth. Can't remember the exact name. His name, I think Gautam Siddharth, something like that. But anyway, so as he was going, he saw an old person walking down the street. And so he asked the charioteer, who is this? What is this? And the charioteer said that this is an old person. And he said, how is it possible? What? The hair are all white. The person can't even stand properly, can't walk properly, has a walking stick. Said each one of us are going to become old. Then later, they see a diseased person sitting by the side of the road. What is this? Who is this? Maybe it was a leper. Maybe it was some other disease. Who knows? And so the charity again said that everyone is going to have diseases. And then third, they saw a dead body. They said, what is this? Who is this? Said everybody has to die. So all these different situations are going to come from the worldly point of view. They call it as suffering. All these sufferings are going to come, you see. And even in Buddhism, they talk about this as dukkha. They use the word dukkha, duk, basically duk. So all these sorrows or challenges are going to come. However, now we know that if we can change our perspective to these, then they will not create any suffering for us. They will not create any sorrow for us. To be able to handle these situations with strength and with equanimity, that's what's going to make all the difference. Either we fall apart, we break into pieces, or we can continue to move forward despite these challenges. You see, in the world too, there are many different types of people, and there's some people who are able to keep themselves together, maintain their equanimity, their composure, their poise, their stability, while others are not able to. But those who are able to maintain are the ones who become the leaders, the CEOs and whatnot. And I was part of some executive leadership courses when I was at my previous job. And that's what was talked about, that true leaders, if you want to be a leader, a CEO, and they were talking about really CEOs and leaders of that sort. They are not really leaders, they are really managers. But even for them, what's important is to be able to maintain stability, because many situations will come. The management could change, government funding can change. So many things can happen. And you could end up having problems within the department, beyond the department, at the organization level. Everything can fall apart. So many things can happen. Yet leaders are known by their ability to maintain their stability. So others will follow us if we are able to maintain our stability. That's what this power teaches us. But also, if you look at it from another point of view, is that we all have inner bad habits, if you will, bad sanskaras, which we love to hide, which we love to shove under the rug, or hide them in the closet. We love to justify the existence of our own mistakes. So to be able to take the bull by its horns, so to speak, that is, I can look at myself very closely through a microscope, through a magnifying lens, however, and really understand what my defects are, and to be able to take them on, sort of. Yes, it's a challenge. I'm going to accept that I have these problems and I'm going to fix them. I'm not going to be wishy-washy there. I'm not going to be afraid of, of going within, first of all, and examining myself. And secondly, to actually remove them. You see, let's say, think of a moment for a moment. You have a house that you don't really live in. You have two houses. One you are planning to give it as rent. Then suddenly you find that somebody has gone and started living in there. Some homeless person has broken the lock and has started living there. Now you could be afraid. Oh no, what will I do? What can I do? If I go and tell this person to leave, that person may attack me. So you would need courage, right? To actually get that person out of the house so that now you can clean it up and give it off for sale, put it on for sale, or even for renting it out to others. So similarly, the negativity that you're holding within yourself is not yours. It has entered into you, illegally, if you will. And so you need to have the courage. We need to have the courage. I need to have the courage. Each one of us has to have the courage to go within ourselves and tell that negativity to get out, to leave. You see, so the power to face, that's the power of courage. And then the last two powers, we are getting close to the end. So before we go to the last two powers, we could take a couple of minutes. Yeah, maybe a minute or two. Yes, shall we? to experience these powers? Power to tolerate. So here you're creating feelings of love, pure love, nothing but love, love upon love, unconditional love, true altruistic love for everyone around you. Just like a mom would have for her beloved child. Others' mistakes don't feel like mistakes. In fact, they seem like your own mistakes. So you're able to accept them. You're able to embrace them. And through this embracing them and accepting them, the power that gets generated, you're able to bring about transformation in them. Your power of love is creating the necessary substrate for them that they can use to transform themselves, to grow, to become better human beings too. And then power to face, courage, to take on big challenges that will come inevitably to each one of us. And then also to be able to face all that we hold within ourselves. That's not worthy. That's not good. Our negative tendencies, our negative habits, negative mindsets, negative personalities. Have the courage now to evict them from this house, this home of ours, this inner space. Go, leave. Don't need you anymore. And then the last two powers, power to cooperate and the power to accommodate. You see, for the power to cooperate, we use the example of that together we can do so much. The example of how this little finger of cooperation of the entire village, along with Krishna, allowed that big Govardhan mountain to be lifted. And think of it, the pinky finger doesn't have much power at all. It can break so easily. Yet, one little finger of cooperation, that is, one little bit of cooperation, can do wonders in the grand scheme of things. And I'm realizing it more and more. Most people around us don't need too much. They have enough resources. People are becoming more and more independent. They can take care of things. All we need many times is to just give them a little bit of love, little bit of support, and that too, not necessarily physical support, just spiritual support, the support of our goodwill, our good wishes, our pure thoughts for them. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you are a child of God with infinite worth, infinite potential, infinite capacity, just like I am. Just that little bit of cooperation can do wonders for them. They say, right, the TEAM, team doesn't have the word I in it. So if we can remove the I, the ego out of the picture, then we can, do such wonderful things. And that's how the power to accommodate is also about, when we are working with others, how do you accommodate other people's problems? Here we use the example of the ocean and how all the rivers that um, come and merge into the ocean, many times they bring so much of dirt, but the ocean just takes all of it in, never to be seen again. So how can I accommodate other people's mistakes, their shortcomings, their inadequacies, and yet be able to cooperate with them, to support them, to nourish them, to nurture them, to give them all that they need? And most of the times, there is nothing much is needed, very little is needed. If I can give that to them unconditionally, and of course, when we are connected to Baba, then we are always full. Then that giving becomes natural, becomes spontaneous. So we give cooperation, in every form and sense. And then, see, others will also begin to acknowledge us. After a very long time, I realized that Baba says, right, we have to win the whole world, win over the whole world. Man jeete to jagat jeete. What is this meaning of jagat jeetna? Baba recently was talking about in one of the Murlis that we cannot really conquer the world through any of the other powers that people have, neither through physical power, nor through financial power, nor through military power, nor through intellectual power, political. None of these powers can really help. What helps is yoga power, right? You remember a couple of days back, few days back, I was talking about yoga power is the power that will help us conquer the whole world. So what is this conquering other people, conquering over other people, conquering the entire world? It's really conquering their hearts. It has taken me many, many years to understand this. And I hope for those people who are new, they will be able to bypass these many years of struggle and understand what it really means is to win over their hearts, win over the hearts of others. And how do you win over the hearts of others? When you give them something profound, something beautiful, that's when they feel good about themselves, they feel good about you. And then they will do whatever you ask them to do. Whatever support you need, whatever cooperation you need, they will see your clean heart and how you have touched their hearts and how you have influenced them and how you supported them and nurtured them and all of the good things that has happened to them through you. Then they will come and do whatever you need from them. And that too, you will not need anything wrong anyways. You're going to need help for transforming the world because that's what your desire is. They'll come and help you in every way. So power to cooperate and power to accommodate. So let's take a couple of minutes. Yeah, it is 8:28, so 2 more minutes left. Let's hold the thought that through this connection that we have with Baba, this eternal connection, Baba's powers are flowing into us. And now these two powers, power to cooperate, power to accommodate, these are becoming real for us, manifest for us in that state of actual presence for us in a tangible way, in a palpable way. And these powers are here for us. And we're using these two powers to make the best use of everything around us, to win the hearts of others, to cooperate with them, to help them, and then they beginning to cooperate with us. Yeah, in Hindi, we sometimes, in India, we say this, that 1 plus 1 many times is 11. Just a little bit of cooperation from others can do wonders for us, and a little bit of cooperation from us can do wonders for others. Sometimes when others want to cooperate with us, then our own ego stops them from helping us. There's this one nice picture that someone had sent me of a tiger whose head is stuck in a big pot and nobody has the courage to help that tiger. How horrible that tiger must be feeling trapped inside that big pot, but nobody has the courage. So if I have ego, a lot of ego, then why would anyone want to cooperate with me? And if I have my own insecurities, I won't be able to cooperate with others. So as I let go of my insecurities and I let go of my own ego, I enter into this lovely dance of cooperation. So power to withdraw, power to pack up, power to discriminate, power to judge wisely, power to tolerate, power to face, power to cooperate, and power to accommodate. Shanti.
Shanma, in the interest of time, can we move on to meditation for a few minutes and then close it?
Yes, Rakiben, you're asking me because I thought 8:30 is the limit.
Yeah, I will just have 1 minute remembrance of Baba before we close.
Yes, I thought I took us all through meditation, but yes,
All right.
yes, that was what I was doing. But yes, we can be in Baba's remembrance for 1 minute, allowing all these powers to pour into us. See that happening right now. See yourself becoming powerful. Super powerful. Shanti. Take care, brothers
Om,
and sisters.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, Shwetank Bhai. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow. Until then, have a joyful day.